Hey everybody, I'm Phil Benelli and want to record this video for those of you who were not able to attend our first session on campus the other day about sales. Or for those of you who maybe were at the session and who wanted to hear it again, take some additional notes, etc. So what we're going to do here today, we're just going to take a short period of time and really outline what is sales. In the next sessions, we're going to get into the ins and outs of sales, how to do it, proven process to be successful. But just for here today, what is sales? What does it mean professionally? What does it mean in your personal life, etc.? So let's dive right in. So think about, what is sales? What does sales mean to you? I will tell you the Phil Benelli definition, and that is that sales is the art of persuasion. So it's taking something that hopefully you believe in and you think is accurate, and presenting that to someone else in order to get them to buy into that, so much so that they're willing to exchange something that's valuable to them for what you're presenting. So it's taking something you believe in, a thought, an idea, a product, a service that you offer, and presenting to someone and getting them to buy into that value, persuading them that it has sufficient value, that they want to offer something of value back. So maybe it's that you are selling a product and you are informing them of this product so they want to buy it. Maybe it's that you're going on a job interview and you need to persuade them, you need to sell the company you're going to work for on the value that you have as an employee so that they want to hire you. They want to exchange the value of training you, providing you with a salary, benefits, etc., in order for you, which is what you have to sell. And see, that's a big part of why I think sales is important for everybody, because whether or not you're in something like what I do that is directly sales, or a big part of it is sales as my career, nothing that you're going to do is going to be able to be successful for you without being able to sell. If you want to be a doctor, you've got to go sell whatever med school that you want to get into, that you are a good med school candidate. Then you've got to sell a residency program that you are a good potential resident. And then you've got to sell the physician's group or the hospital, whatever you want to do, that you are going to be a good doctor. And I tell you what, even then, after you start working, you've got to persuade patients to do the things that are going to help them and be beneficial for their health once you make diagnoses of them. So when people think of sales, they often think of the pushy salesperson. I know that I used to do that when I heard sales or salesman. I would think of the car salesman, the used car salesman. No one wants to go and buy a car. Some people get excited about it, but I think most people, they get excited about having a car. But when you step out of your car on the car lot to go and look at other cars, you're immediately just flooded with salespeople. And it often can make you feel uncomfortable. Everyone loves to buy. Everyone likes to get something they want, but nobody likes to be sold. I'll tell you a quick story. I used to work with a lady named Debbie, great lady, and what I do, I'm a relationship manager at a bank. So there are customers, businesses that I take care of. So a lot of what I'm doing is selling. I'm presenting them with things that the bank does and offers so that they will buy those products and services from us. Debbie was more of a support role. She would help our customers when they called in, they had an issue with their account or their loan. She was more reactive and would just help take care of some administrative things. So Debbie did not look at herself as a salesperson. In fact, Debbie had directly told me, I don't like sales, I don't do sales, and that's fine, Debbie, okay? Tell you what, one week I heard Debbie pick up the phone, as she always does. Customer would call in, they had issues, they loved Debbie, she would take care of their issues. They called up Debbie, and Debbie said, hi, this is Debbie, how may I assist you? The customer, I could hear just Debbie's side of the conversation, but I could hear that the customer was explaining a problem. I think they had fraud on their account. So Debbie listened to them, made sure she understood the problem, and then Debbie said, hey, we'll take care of that for you. Guess what? The bank has this service, and I think that it'd be a great solution to help this from happening in the future. Is that something you'd like us to set up for you? They were very thankful. They said, yes, please do that. We want that. That's going to protect us. Boom. So Debbie did. What was Debbie doing? Debbie was selling. Now, Debbie wasn't doing that negative thing she thought of as sales, where you're going out and being pushy, trying to sell somebody something that they don't want or need. She was doing sales the right way, and she was listening to them, listening to their needs, and presenting a solution that she could offer that met their needs. And I'd say that that's what sales is at its best. That's how I'm going to teach you to sell in the ongoing sessions coming up. And when you do that, sales is really a wonderful thing. It's helping people. You offer something, whether your business offers something or you individually, your services. Again, we use the physician example, but you have something of value. Your company has something of value. So if you're speaking to people who could use what you do, you're understanding what they need, and then you're just presenting them an opportunity for the solution. That's sales. And the key part is it's offering them, you're persuading them that your solution is correct, which persuading is a good thing if what you have to offer is a good thing for them. And you should never sell anything that doesn't sell itself to you. So you should never sell something that you don't believe in. But if the solution is something that you know can help them, you just offer an opportunity to partake in that and in exchange for value. So they're going to hire you and provide you with the salary. That's with a company that you're trying to work with. That's you selling them on the value you to the extent they want to hire you. With a product or a service, I'm going to offer to a customer. I know it's got value, but they need to be persuaded to the extent that they feel that they want to add something of value back to me in order to give it to them. Because if you don't get value back, it's not selling, it's just giving somebody something. If I were to come up and say, hey, do you want a car for free? I've got an extra car. Would you like it? You'd be a little curious as to why I would do that, but I'm not having to sell you. I'm giving you something. Now, if I were to say, hey, I've got a car, you might like it. It costs $10,000. Now it's sales because you've got to feel so strongly about that value that you want to give something of value in return. So this is very important, y'all, because you could have the best product or service, or you could be the best potential employee for someone. But if you can't persuade people of the value of what you have to offer to the extent that they are willing to offer something of value in return, it doesn't matter. If I'm a musician, I could have the best song ever, but if no one buys it on iTunes or no one gets out there and listens to it, it doesn't do anyone any good. I could have the best banking products and the best banking services in the world, but if I can't understand the needs of a customer and explain to them and outline to them why the solution I've come up with is the best solution for them, then it doesn't do anyone any good. So, at the end of the day, everyone sells, whether they're doing a good job of it or not, and whether their profession is selling or not. So if everybody sells, I want you to think about, is there a best personality type for sales? I know when I think of a salesperson, I think of someone who's outgoing. They're very friendly. They enjoy talking to people. They're quick with a joke. They're quick to connect with people. And really that describes who I am as a salesperson. I'm definitely an extrovert. And sometimes people who are more introverted feel that they're not, kind of maybe into sales, or they're not going to be good at sales. And I would say that that's incorrect. In fact, all personality types really can be effective in selling. And in many ways, the more introverted, introspective person can do better. In some ways, it depends on what you're selling, but just think about it. When I go to interact with a customer, I'm quick to be able to connect with them. I enjoy people, and if you enjoy people, a lot of times they're going to enjoy being with you in return. So I connect with folks, I listen to them. It's a pleasant interaction, but sometimes that can get in the way of doing a good job of selling, because you can be content. People who are like that, who are more the traditional sales sort of people you would think of, they like that. And that interaction, positive interaction, and their customer liking them can sometimes be enough for them. And so they don't do as good of a job as digging deep and probing into the customer's needs. I went and was meeting with a prospective client for the bank the other day. It was myself and one of my partners within the bank who's very much introverted. You would not think of him as a salesperson. He's kind of over in a cubicle in his office, crunching numbers, doing that sort of thing, not so outgoing. So you wouldn't think of him as a salesperson, but he did the best job of selling for our customer. And here's why, or our prospect. He, in his introspected strength, he did such a great job of listening to the need. He wasn't quick to respond back. He was just thinking he could see the wheels turning. And in doing so, he came up with a very good solution that really helped them. So from the outside, you wouldn't think that there was a major connection with he and this prospect because he's not that extroverted sort of guy. But because he is more introspective, he was able to come up with a great solution that at the end of the day will likely be what wins us the ultimate sale because it's what the customer needs. So that's important to remember. Everyone really needs to be good at sales, and everyone can do it. So if you're kind of more the extroverted, outgoing sort of person like I am, you need to make sure that you don't let that be a crutch to you and that you do what needs to be done of really listening to people, really thinking through a good solution so you could help them. And on the other hand, if you're more of an introspective person, you need to make sure that you're not just listening and coming up with things that are useful, but that you are getting out there and connecting with folks too. Because again, you can have the best ideas in the whole world, but if you're not getting out there and presenting them effectively, then they're not going to help anybody out. So we're all selling, whether in business or just in our personal life, even if we're not in sales. But let's talk about sales kind of more in the professional aspect and how that looks. So there's all sorts of sales. There's kind of a higher volume, low margin, low technical way of doing sales. So just think about maybe people who come door to door and sell magazines. It's about volume. You're going there, you're saying, here are the magazines that I sell. Maybe you've got some sort of story that makes it compelling, but you're just knocking on doors, going and trying to sell. There's not a lot of knowledge that's needed. Then there's more of a technical sort of sales. If your company sells a highly complex product, let's say a big computer or software system, you've got to understand that product. You've got to really dig deeper with your customer to understand their needs. If I'm selling a magazine, hey, here are the magazines I have. What are your interests? Hey, here's a magazine I have that meets that interest. You like running? Here's Runner's World magazine. Okay. If I'm selling a big computer system, I need to know the way that everything works for your company so that I can understand how to tailor something to you. What I do is more of a technical sort of sales. I've got to really understand the companies that I work with, and then I have to communicate clearly to the rest of the folks at the bank how that company works, and then craft a solution for them. So some things are technical, some things are not as technical. As far as getting paid in sales, sales is something that really has, in many cases, almost an unlimited revenue potential, but it also has zero. So you can get paid. Sales often involves getting paid with some form of commission. So commission is, hey, you sell something, you get something directly in return. A real estate agent, when they go and sell a house, they get a split of the commission. When a house is sold, 6% generally goes to the real estate agents. One agent gets 3%, the other gets 3%. So every house that's sold, that real estate agent gets paid a percentage of the sales price. That's a commission. And real estate agents just get paid commission. So that can be good and bad. If you're not selling anything, you're not getting paid anything. But every time you sell something, you get a commission. So you can sell as much as you could possibly sell. Your income can be here or way up here. So you've got a lot of freedom in that. There's risk and there's more return. A lot of times sales is kind of a split. For example, I get a salary and then I get bonus structure, which is kind of like a commission based on what I produce. So I get a split of that. So there's kind of all in between, purely commission, not much commission, or right in the middle. So based on that, sales is great, I think, and it's like running your own business, and that the more you produce, the more that you get paid. If you have a job with just a salary, that's great too, because it's very consistent. You know what you're going to get paid every day, week, month, year, but you don't have as much upside potential. So it's kind of, whatever your comfort level is with risk, and if you want to push it to try to get paid more, or just be safe and consistent with what you get. Something else that's similar to the pay for sales and the freedom in it is your time. So again, I am much more like an entrepreneur, or it's like I'm running my own business, even though I work for a company that I'm doing this selling for. I don't have any sort of time restraints. I don't have to be somewhere at 8 and leave at 5 or 6 or whatever. I just have things I need to do. I have goals I have to produce, a certain amount that I have to sell. And so I can come in when I want and leave when I want, but my work is never really done. There's always deals I'm trying to sell. I'm always trying to get new customers. And so there's a lot of time freedom in that. I think about kind of two different sorts of careers. My wife was a nurse, and so she had to be there at 8 and they left at 5:30. So she was there that day. She didn't have freedom, but when she left work, she was done. She didn't have to think about it. She wasn't trying to sell her nursing services. She'd already gotten hired. So when she left work, there wasn't more work for her to do. She got to just relax and not think about it. When she went on vacation, some other nurse was taking care of the customers, so she didn't have to think about it. With what I do, I can come and go whenever I want, but because those numbers always need to be hit, I've got to keep selling. I've got to control my thoughts so that I'm not thinking about it all the time. So that when I'm at home at night, I'm not just always on my emails trying to get another deal closed. And while I'm on vacation, I'm not just thinking about sales all the time. So there's more freedom, more risk, and potential reward in sales from a financial standpoint and really from a time standpoint. So we're going to get into, as I mentioned in the next session, how to do sales. And I will tell you, sales is not complicated. Whether you're persuading people just for your own career advancement and going to get a job and really what you're selling is you, or if you're doing something like what I do and you're selling as a profession, it's not complicated, but it can be hard. In sales, you have to put yourself out there. When you're trying to persuade someone of something, you can get rejected, and rejection hurts. Think about going and asking someone to the prom, or if somebody asked you to the prom. They had to put themselves out there, and that's scary. And sales can be scary. So it's not hard, or it's not complicated, but it can be hard because you got to put yourself out there, and you have to do some very consistent things day in and day out in order to be successful. So in the next session, we're going to talk about that, how to do that, how that all works. But I hope that this was a great outline for you and understanding kind of just of what sales is. Sales is, again, just persuading somebody to really buy into a product or a service that you're selling, whether that's something for the company you work for or just you and your abilities, and you're trying to persuade them of the value of that to such an extent that they want to give you something in return. They want to buy. So that's what sales is. I have found sales to be a great career for me, again, because there's that income potential, there's the time freedom, and with that there is stress and risk that you have to manage. But how you do that, we're going to talk about in the next session. So I hope you have a great day. Look forward to seeing you for session 2.